2025 really wasn't an easy year for any real estate agent across America. You had sales that were far slower, buyers were far more cautious, sellers were unrealistic, and of course you had interest rates that stayed higher for longer than anybody expected. In many markets, transaction volume was way down and price growth slowed, or it even completely stalled. And for the first time in years, agents couldn't simply rely on the market to do the heavy lifting for them. So what happened? Naturally, a lot of agents really did struggle. And a lot of agents quietly left the business altogether. But here's the part that most people don't truly understand. 2025 wasn't actually a bad year. It was simply a transition year. It was the year that the market actually reset. The year easy money disappeared and the year that skills started to matter again. And that's exactly why 2026 is shaping up to be a defining year for real estate. By the end of this video, you'll understand what actually happened in the real estate market in 2025 and where that leaves us heading into 26. What to realistically expect from interest rates, pricing, and inventory, and most importantly, how agents cannot just survive, but absolutely dominate in 26. This isn't speculation from someone who stopped selling years ago. For those of you who don't know me, my name is James Harris. I've sold over $5 billion worth of real estate throughout my career. I've worked my way up from zero to selling multi-million-dollar homes in some of the most exclusive neighborhoods in America. This is coming from someone who is still deep in the trenches, still negotiating deals, and still watching the market's behavior change in real time. So let's break it down. If I had to summarize 2025 in one sentence, it would be this. 2025 was the year the market forced professionalism back into real estate. And here's what actually happened. First, we have interest rates. Mortgage rates stayed elevated for most of the year, generally hovering over 6%. They did come down slightly towards the end of the year, but not enough to meaningfully change affordability for most of our buyers. So what did that do? It created hesitation. Buyers didn't disappear, but they did become far more selective. They took far longer to decide. They negotiated harder, and they are now expecting agents to actually know what the hell they're talking about. And that leads us to sales volume. Transaction volume remained below the historical norms. Homes were still selling, but far fewer of them. And the deals that did happen required a lot more work, a lot more follow-up, and better strategy. Now, to many people's dismay, prices didn't crash nationally, but price growth did slow dramatically. Some markets stayed extremely flat, and some softened slightly. Others, especially inventory-heavy markets like Austin or Tampa and Miami, they saw downward pressure as well. And this really confused a lot of sellers. They were anchored into 2021 pricing, low interest rate, crazy demand. But now, they're selling into a 2025 reality. As the year went on, we did see inventory in most markets slowly start creeping back up. It wasn't a crazy flood, but it was enough to start changing the dynamic. Buyers finally had options. Negotiations finally came back, and homes started sitting longer if they weren't actually priced correctly or positioned right. So while 2025 wasn't a collapse, it was the end of agents being able to operate on what I call autopilot. Where does all of that leave us heading into a new year, 2026? Here's the key shift that most agents are really missing. The market didn't break, it simply normalized. We're no longer in an emergency low rate environment. We're no longer in a frenzy where everything sells in 24 to 48 hours with 20 offers. And we're no longer in a world where bad agents get bailed out by momentum. Instead, we're simply entering a more balanced and more rational market. It matters because balanced markets reward skill. And that brings us to 2026. Let's just get this out of the way right now. We are not going back to 3% mortgage rates. Most projections put 2026 mortgage rates in the low sixes. That's lower than the peak, but it's still historically normal. And that's the part that people are missing. And here's then the important part. Buyers don't need cheap money. They need predictable money. Stability brings confidence, and confidence brings activity. And that's why nationally, most forecasts point to low single-digit price growth. What does that mean to us? It means that some markets go up, some will stay flat, and some will continue to correct. There is no single national story like there was in 2020 or 2021. For agents, it's actually a good thing. Pricing is no longer automatic, it's strategic. The agents who are going to win in 2026 will be the ones who price honestly, they set expectations early, they explain why the market is doing what it's doing, and inventory is expected to continue improving. Again, it's not a flood, but it's enough to matter, which means you've got more competition between listings, you've got more importance on preparation and positioning, and you've got more leverage for those buyers who are actually educated. To me, this is where real agents separate themselves from just what I call order takers. Now, for some good news. Most forecasts expect transaction volume to improve modestly in 2026. It's not necessarily going to be a big boom nor a frenzy, but certainly a sincere grind to growth year. And honestly, that's where the best agents will thrive. Now, here's the most important part of this video. Because markets don't make agents successful, your systems do. Here are the 5 things I'm going to be doing in 2026. Number 1, you must become a market educator. In 2026, your job isn't just to sell homes, your job is to actually interpret the market. Clients are overwhelmed, they're reading headlines, they're watching TikToks, they are confused. The agent who actually explains what's happening clearly is the agent that wins. Number 2, pricing and negotiation become your superpower. It's no longer about listing at the highest possible number, it's about listing the smartest. It's about knowing when to push, knowing when to concede, and perhaps most importantly, knowing how to actually frame value. Number 3, follow-up is the difference. Maybe one of the most important. In a slower, more deliberate market, follow-up becomes everything. The agent who consistently calls back, checks in, adds value, stays present, are the agents who typically pick up on deals that other people simply give up on. Number 4, content, data, and tech are table stakes. I said this in my last video, but it is so important. Artificial intelligence won't replace agents, but agents who use tech and AI will replace agents who don't. Market data, AI for follow-up, and creating content that educates are all no longer optional. Last but not least, number 5, just embrace the work. If you want to take the longest path possible to becoming successful, constantly distract yourself by looking for shortcuts. And if you want the real shortcut that will make you successful faster than anybody else out there, just realize that there are no shortcuts. The agents who win in 2026 are the ones who are out there prospecting every single day, not just when they need another deal. They're going to be learning constantly about the market and the tools that are available, and they're going to invest in their brand. The market will reward discipline over and over and over. Use 2026 to separate yourself. The agents who succeed, they're not luckier, they're not smarter, they're not more connected, but they are more committed. If this video helped you, subscribe for more real tactical insight on how top agents actually operate. And remember this, the market rewards the agents who do the work. It always has, and it always will.